Pryde's Picks is spoiler heavy and full of crude language. I swear like a sailor, and Lockheed's no better. Consider yourself warned. Hey everyone, it's February 27th, and I'm here with this week's Pryde's Picks. DC had me grabbing 2 issues I wouldn't likely pick up, the first of which was Batman Incorporated number 8. Now, I have yet to read the first 7 books, so I'm jumping in at the end of a story arc. I have no idea what's going on. The one thing I do know is that the artwork of Chris Burnham and Jason Masters is going down in history for me as the worst art I have ever seen in a Batman book. At one point, little Robin gets shot at with arrows, and the next minute, his teeth are all out of his mouth. But the next minute, he's on fire. It's just, the whole art doesn't mix with the story, and it kind of drags you out of it, because you're like, when the fuck did he lose all his teeth? Whoever put this together, I don't know if they missed a beat or decided to write some shit in, but I feel like the artists weren't encompassing whatever Grant Morrison was trying to get across, because I have no fucking clue what's going on in these fight scenes. Story-wise, it's pretty intense. We're definitely jumping in at a very pivotal moment in this whole story arc, and Batman's trapped in a friggin' safe at the bottom of a swimming pool. Robin and Nightwing are fighting the evil minions of Talia. It ends with what looks like to be a very moving scene of Batman kneeling, no, and he's got little baby Robin in his arms, right? And you're thinking, oh man, he must be dead. This guy shot him with arrows, set him on fire, broke his fucking back, then ran him through with a sword. But if they're not going to kill him in the Death of the Family story arc, which was infinitely better than this, they're not going to kill him in this. Obviously, something's going to happen, or there's going to be a time shift, or the Lazarus Pit will revive him. Talia shed a tear, so, she's going to have some feelings. She's going to find a way to rescue her little mister. I feel like this book didn't nearly live up to the hype that the entire internet is giving it, and I'm going to say pass. This is a piss on it for me. I would piss on this book, mostly because the art makes me want to cry, and because the story really didn't move me like it should have, and Batman kneeling going, no, is just fucking comical. Piss on you. Moving on to a book that I never thought I'd pick up, Injustice, Gods Among Us. Now, Injustice is a game that's actually coming out soon, and I got to check it out last year at PAX Prime. I wasn't really moved by the idea that it was a fighter game, and it was just Harley Quinn versus Wonder Woman, or Batman, or Joker. It had these godlike beings fighting these mortals, and somehow everyone's powers were equaled. And I complained about it to a guy that turned out to be one of the creators and writers for the story, and was like, yeah, I kind of put the last year of my life into this. And he said, don't worry, it will be explained as to why everybody's on a level playing field. Some people who have stronger powers are going to have weaker powers, and vice versa. This book, I guess, is going to set up the story. So far, it hasn't explained why everyone's powers are equal, but what it has done is, issue 1 had the Joker fucking up Superman's world. Superman finds out his woman's pregnant, Joker kills her and his city, so he kills Lois, kills his unborn baby, and basically annihilates the entire town of Metropolis. This issue has Batman hiding Joker somewhere, and Superman coming after him, balls out crazy. Superman is looking to kill. Then he gets all scruffed up at one point. You think he has a drinking problem, and he's like taking down the villains of the world, and he starts telling everybody his secret identity. I really didn't think I was going to like this book, but it kind of does something that other books don't do, and it gets to like the action right away. Because this book is in its own little universe, and they can do whatever the hell they want. They can have Superman put his fist through the Joker's fucking chest, and you don't have to worry about the ramifications because it's just a book about a video game. It's a fighter video game. There's gonna be violence. So if you want to see some balls out crazy violence in your DC universe, Injustice Gods Among Us is actually it. I'm not saying it's life-changing, but I am saying it's incredibly entertaining, and it was one of the most entertaining reads I had this week. Please don't kill me. So I would say definitely read it on the shelf and maybe even wait for the trade. I wouldn't say buy it right now, but you definitely need to check it out. The art style is super cartoony, kind of like the TV series, except not as good. But it was still pretty, and it wasn't as impossible to read as Batman, so give it a shot. You will be pleasantly surprised by this book, because I was. Moving on to Marvel's Uncanny XMen number 2. We reviewed number 1 a few weeks back, and as predicted, our good friends Scott Summers and Emma Frost and Magneto are banding together and making their own school, because that's what all the cool kids are doing. This school is bringing together the New Mutants and bringing them under Scott's wing, and he's going to try to teach them the way of being a mutant and how they're going to change the world with their new powers. This issue was a completely Bendis-style issue where we got to see the inner turmoil of a lot of the characters, especially Emma Frost. And I liked that we got to hear her inner dialogue of how she's feeling about not having her powers working right, how she's feeling about working alongside of her ex-boyfriend, how she still hates Jean Grey. And at the same time, she can't control her powers, so she doesn't realize she's projecting these feelings, and Scott can hear this shit too. So it leads to a very honest dialogue between the two of them, and you get to kind of see where their relationship stands. I loved that part of this book. Once it got to the part with Fabio and his little bouncing gold balls power that I still think would be better as cute little kittens, I kind of lost interest in the book, and I could really care less, and then it wrapped up with Magneto being like, oh, good, they're gone, and he's on the phone with somebody. So Magneto is totally trying to stab them in the back. I'm not quite sure how far that's going to go, but I feel like this book kind of let me into what seemed like marriage counseling for the couple of Scott and Emma, and I liked that. I don't think it necessarily progressed the story too much, but I definitely felt like it gave me a little insight as to what's going on between the two of them. Because you do have to wonder, they shared an entity, and everything fell apart, and their powers are all wonky, and they're both, like, freaking the fuck out. And what does that do to a relationship? Now we know. So if you're interested in the secret life of Scott and Emma, definitely pick this book up, read it. I don't think it's a big must-have, but it ends with it, oh shit, on the final page. So check it out. I'm still going to wait for the trade. It's not a complete buy it now, but it was enjoyable. I still hate the art style that makes Emma Frost look like a angst-ridden, gothy teenage girl dating a man, Scott Summers. So that part was weird. The art still isn't selling me, but the rest of the book was pretty cool. I'm going to wrap up this week's books with Guardians of the Galaxy .1. This book is all about the leader of the group, Star-Lord. It's how he was conceived, how he came to be who he is today, what that means for the group he's with. The art was beautiful. The pacing was great. My personal favorite part was the beginning, seeing him conceived. Picture this. An alien crashes on your property. Then you come out and say, you move that vehicle because I don't want the authorities out here tearing up my lawn. And then he says, I can't move it till I fix it. So then you let him fix his ship, and then there's a montage of you guys looking at the stars together and welding, looking at the fire together and welding. Next thing you know, there's a scene where they're holding hands by a fire. She wakes up in bed, and there's a big notebook moment where she's wrapped in a blanket, and he's like, I have to go. And you're all going, did she just get intergalactically wham bam, thank you ma'am, thanks for helping me fix my ship? Yes, she did. Cut to 9 months later, bitch is pregnant. Guess where daddy is? Your guess is as good as mine. Fucker's gone. Now the kids, I don't know, 10, 12, and aliens come. Aliens come to kill him because they don't want his lineage being around. The mom doesn't really make it, and that's the story of Star-Lord. I enjoyed this book. The pacing was a lot of fun. The book itself just gives you backstory. It's not going to change your life. You're not going to miss too much. But it is cool to see something like this now because I know the movie's coming out, so it'll definitely give me some backstory on the characters I'm about to see. And I don't know if y'all know this, but my buddy Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec and Zero Dark 30 and Everwood is going to be playing Star-Lord. So I really enjoyed that because now I get to see a little bit into his character. I would say wait for the trade. I do want to know a little bit about all the Guardians of the Galaxy, but this series right now just might be introducing the cast for a movie coming out. It wasn't heart-stopping or earth-shattering, but it was enjoyable. So I'd say read it on a shelf. This week, I don't think there were any buy it nows. Nothing really tickled me too much that I had to grab it right away. But there were some books that were interesting, and the action was good, and the art didn't suck. Batman. But before I go, I would like to introduce all of you to a new member of my family. I'm not talking about a little dog you can fit in a purse. I'm not talking about a little baby demon. I'm talking about my good friend Batman. I picked him up at the Tate's parking spot for $25. Best score ever, along with 4 seasons of the animated series for $2 each. Anyway, I just wanted you guys to meet my new man and be jealous. He lives with me now. Good night, everybody. Mwah.